All right, this is December 1st, and so we're going to get the instructions on the second half of your worksheet, 2.6a. We're going to start at 19. So some of this is review and some of this is new, so we're going to start with the review section. Make sure that you're putting this in your notes. We still have a note grade coming up. And so this is an excellent opportunity to know exactly what you're supposed to put in your notes, because I'm going to write in my notebook. All right. So we didn't have any questions this time around, which is okay. Just make sure that you know that the due date is Sunday and there are no extensions. If you have some issue with COVID, just make sure your parent emails the school and me so we can mark you down as that. And then we can do things accordingly. More than likely, we're going to have a test coming up pretty quickly. Monday is looking pretty good for a test, so that way everybody has a chance to finish, and then we'll test Monday and move on to the next section. Okay, so anyways, since we don't have any questions, the only announcement is make sure you're keeping up with your stuff and don't get too far behind. And we're going to go over this worksheet here. Today's assignment is a little bit long. That's okay. Wednesday's assignment is going to be pretty short, and so I'm intending you to do today's assignment a little bit today, a little bit on Wednesday, and then your digital assignment also on Wednesday. And that will end up being about the right amount of work on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to take away the digital stuff, and here we go. All right, so we need a title, Absolute Value Inequalities. Go ahead and put on one number line on here just so we can remember how number lines work for absolute value. I am going to go ahead and start on number 19. From your worksheet. So if you do have two devices, this is kind of nice where you can have your worksheet up and your notes out, and so you can be watching the video with your worksheet up. All right, but even if you don't have your worksheet, this is what the problem is. Absolute value of k equals 6. Okay, remember that the absolute value is essentially, in this case, distance from 0. Okay, we definitely know that 6 is going to be one of them. Okay, but what's the other one? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the right way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is the left way. This is not an inequality, so we won't have any coloring in between. This answer is going to either be 6 or negative 6. All right, so just remember how to do that. Let's go to a more difficult problem. This is going to be 24. Okay, and I'm going to move this a smidge. It's going to be 24. And so, and you can always pause this video if you need to get this in your notes. So this is going to be harder. Okay, so we don't need to graph every single one. We're not going to graph this one. But we do have a left answer and a right answer. And so we're going to go ahead and just split this up into two problems, if you remember. So this is going to be negative 2x plus 8 equals 4. Negative 2x plus 8 equals negative 4. Okay, so the only difference here that I see is I wrote the same problem down, but I switched the answer. So we have a positive and a negative answer. That's how we're going to do this particular one. And so then you just work these out. No big deal. Minus 8, negative 2x equals negative 4. X equals 2. All right, minus 8, negative 2x equals negative 12. x equals, that would be a positive 6. So here are my two answers. Okay? Notice that they're not the same number. And because we had a complicated thing inside the absolute value. Up here, we didn't have anything complicated in the absolute value. So we got a positive and a negative of the same number. When we add complications in, we're going to have two answers still, but they're not going to be the same number necessarily. And in this case, they were both positive. Okay, so we got two good examples in our notes, but none of them were inequalities. So we need to go and work on an inequality. So I'm going to go on 27 here. And then we're going to write a very, very important table in a second. I'm going to draw another number line here. I'm not going to make it super complicated. Just another little number line, because I'm going to need it. And I'm going to label it just like your worksheet. Just so you have some kind of visual. Okay. So I'm going to write down this problem here. And again, this one is going to be simple. I hope. Okay. So this adds a little complication to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to split this up into two problems. I'm going to split this up into m is greater than or equal to 8. And then I'm going to split it up into m is less than or equal to negative 8. Okay, I did something there. So I changed both. I flipped the sign and I changed this to a negative. Okay, this is what you need in your notes. This is very, very important. So now we need to figure out how to graph this. So I'm going to look at this one. This one should be easy. So I'm going to, I'm going to use this instead. This one should be easy. 8. So I'm going to put a circle around 8, and I'm going to color it in. And it looks like all the greater than 8s are this way. Okay. Great. Now let's look at this one. Less than negative 8. Well, somebody didn't do that right, did they? Okay. So then I'm going to put this here. I'm going to color it in, and then, okay. Now this looks to me like it looks like an OR graph. I don't know if that means anything yet. So let's try another one, 28. Okay. And then I'm going to draw another line just so you can see it. Let's do it right here. All right, and we probably have about a 0 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's 9. And we got a 1, 2, 3. So negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, we just did that just a little bit. So we can look at this problem number 28. Should have probably put that. And I'm just going to write this down. Again, this one is just kind of understanding how things work. Okay, so I'm going to split this up again. So this is going to be P is less than 1. And the second one is going to be P is, I'm going to flip the sign, greater than, and change the sign. So again, I change this. And I change this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and graph on your little graph thing here. This time I don't want to color in the circles, so I just want to leave them circles. Empty set. Empty, I mean. So P is going to be 1. Okay. Not sure why your graph looks the way it did, but I do it just like in the book. So let's look at this. So I'm going to circle 1 here. And then it looks like I'm supposed to color this direction. Yeah, those are all the things less than 1. And here, -1, I'm supposed to color circle -1, and I'm supposed to color in the way of, okay. So this one looks like an and, excuse me, an and graph. Okay, so let's put this together, and let's go ahead and on the side, let's make a little chart. And this is one thing I'm going to be looking for when I grade this, for sure. This one should be real easy to get a good grade on, because you have all the time in the world to go back to and write. So let's make a little chart here, so we know what to do. Just going to make a little side chart here. All right. So it looks to me like less than or equal to, I'm just going to go ahead and write less, is going to make an and graph. So it's going to look basically like this. Okay, and the way I like to think of it, if it's less than, then it can fit in a container. This, greater than or equal to, so greater, is going to look like an OR graph. So it's going to look like this. The way I like to look about it, if it's greater than, it cannot be contained, so it spills outside of the container. So those are the ways to remember this. So make sure you have this chart down. I'm going to pause just a little bit so you don't have to pause it. And then we're going to move on to a few more problems. I'm going to skip ahead to some of the harder problems. Okay, because I think you can handle the easier problems. Let's skip ahead to some of the harder problems here, and then we'll do that. All right, next page. So I think I need to do 35. It's a little bit harder. And I'm not going to worry. I'm going to show you how you can do the graphing since you don't have a page, because I don't want you to just spend hours and hours and hours drawing number lines. That's what the computer will be for tomorrow when you have your computer assignment. All right, first thing I'm going to do is split it up. Okay. Okay, so subtract 1, subtract 1. I get 2x is greater than or equal to 0. X is less than or equal to, well, 0. All right. Well, looks like I didn't do anything correct over here. What did I do wrong? Well, that needs to change and that needs to change. So I'm going to correct it. So that's supposed to be 1 plus 2x. Don't change anything about that. It's supposed to change this and change this. Okay. Otherwise, if you get the same answer, and there's no point in doing a problem twice if you're going to get the same answer. All right, so subtract 1, subtract 1. So we're going to get 2x is greater than or equal to -2. Divide by 2, divide by 2. X is going to be greater than or equal to -1. Okay, we got 2 answers. Now we got to graph this thing. And so we should be able to tell here, it is a less than sign, so I'm betting less than means and. So let's see if that's true. Okay, so X, so the first one is going to start on 0, and I'm going to fill it in, so that's 0. I'm going to color this direction. The second one is going to start on -1. And I'm going to color this direction. So that's basically what your graph would look like if you put it on a number line. It is an and. Okay, great. Let's try a harder one. 36 And this will be the last one I'll probably do, unless I have questions tomorrow, then I'll do plenty. If you need me to answer questions, I kind of want to get that graph going. Okay, so 36 is going to look like this. 9 minus 9x. Oh, that's just trouble. Trouble. All right, let's see what happens. I'm kind of worried about this negative. So let's see what happens. Let's write this out. Okay. Now we got our problems written. Let's go ahead and minus 9, minus 9, negative 9x is greater than an 81. Divide by negative 9, divide by negative 9. So that would be x is greater than, nope, I divided by a negative. So that'd be x is less than negative 9. Okay, hopefully we see what we're doing there. All right, moving on to this other one. Minus 9, minus 9. It's going to be negative 9x is less than or equal to negative 99. Divide by negative 9, divide by negative 9. So we're going to get x is greater than, let's see here, that is a negative, positive 11. Okay. Let's see how this looks. Okay, so I'm going to start over here. So this looks to me like that x is supposed to start on a negative 9. So it's a circle, so negative 9. And it looks like I'm supposed to color this direction. This to me looks like this x is supposed to be started on 11, circle, going this direction, all those greater. All right, this definitely looks like an OR graph to me. And let's see, on my table I said that the greater than symbol and the greater or equal to symbol is going to be an OR graph. Okay, so even though we had this negative 9 mess with all my signs, it still ended up being an OR graph. And still, greater than means it cannot be contained, and so it's going to spill out. Less than or equal to, less than or equal to or less than is going to be an and it's going to be contained. All right, that's a good way to check and see if you're doing your stuff right. All right, so I'm going to let you to it. And until next time, keep on working. Bye.